Canelo Crawford is done, and if you look at the boxing schedule, we got slim pickings. If you're expecting a mega event, you're going to have to settle for the Tank Davis-Jake Paul fight, exhibition. And if you're a hardcore boxing fan, the biggest card left is the Ring 4 card featuring some of the best boxers in the world. Unfortunately, none of the fighters on that card come close to being mainstream stars. At least not yet. On top of this, some of the most renowned names are on their way out. Canelo Alvarez is 35 years old. Same with Anthony Joshua, the second man to have carried the sport for the past 9 years. Terence Crawford might have increased his profile after beating Canelo, but he's a 38-year-old who only fights once a year, and who knows how many fights he has left. Even with Turki Al-Sheikh deep pockets funding these stacked cards, the prospect of boxing producing another mainstream star seems dubious. Then again, boxing's been here before. Not that long ago, Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao significantly slowed down their careers, and people wondered who would pick up the slack. Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua stepped up. So let's dive in and find out who will be boxing's next big star. We'll do so by looking at their pros and cons. These could be their age, their fighting style, their potential opponents, as well as their character and personality. Finally, we'll assign them a grade representing their likelihood to conquer the sport. Gervonta Tank Davis. At almost 30 years of age, Tank Davis' upside as a star grows more and more limited. However, though his pay-per-view numbers are often disappointing, Tank's ability to draw crowds on the East and West Coasts is undeniable. For years now, he's been on the cusp of stardom, but outside the ring troubles, such as causing a car crash and then fleeing the scene, have stalled his activity. On top of this, Tank has avoided fighting the best fighters in or around his division. Past stars such as Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, among others, grew famous because they fought the best opposition, the opponents that the people wanted to see them fight. Even megastars such as Mayweather and Pacquiao did subpar pay-per-view numbers when they fought lesser names. So just because you're a star doesn't make every fight a super event. Making matters worse is that Tank is involved with premier boxing champions, an outfit with no solid network deal. So they're relegated to putting on most of his fights, almost all of them against subpar names on pay-per-view. Now, the good news for Tank is that he has a somewhat entertaining style. His knockout power is real, though oftentimes the way he gets there isn't. And though boxing fans are clowning him for avoiding the best and for boxing YouTuber Jake Paul in an exhibition match, the Paul circus could raise Tank's profile, depending on how it goes. The problem is that if the bout is a boring sparring session devoid of drama, it could do little to improve his image. Worse still would be a loss to Paul. Even if you take into account that Paul is much bigger than Davis, getting beat by a YouTuber would remain a bad look. The best case scenario for Tank is for him to beat Jake Paul and return to fight the best boxers as soon as possible. If Tank does achieve mainstream fame this year, it's unlikely to last too long, considering his shaky promotional nucleus, his age, and his general unwillingness to fight the best. Because of that, we give his star potential 7.5 out of 10. Vergil Ortiz. At 27 years old, the undefeated Ortiz possesses an entertaining style that is sure to captivate both hardcore and casual fans. Moreover, he's in a division loaded with talent, so he should be able to maintain people's interests, provided he fights the best. And with Golden Boy Promotions, one of the top outfits, Ortiz has a solid support group. Finally, his Mexican heritage is sure to attract the sizable and always passionate Mexican crowd. A problem stifling Ortiz was rhabdomyolysis, a condition which kept him out of the ring for over a year. Could this flare up and slow him down again? Another issue plaguing Ortiz is his stale character. A few years ago, Ortiz refused to talk to a journalist because the man had wondered whether Ortiz had canceled one of his fights due to his condition or due to failing to make the welterweight limit.
I've learned a lot of things, and especially things like interviewers and reporters talking about stuff that they don't know, especially on Twitter, including you. And for that reason, I will not be answering your questions today. Forever.
Ortiz must understand that he needs a relationship with the media, just as they need one with him. So far, Ortiz hasn't been the most stellar ticket seller, but he's about to fight one of the top junior welterweights in Erickson Lubin, and provided he continues beating the best, his profile can only grow. His star potential is at 7.5 out of 10. In the competitive landscape of boxing, Boots Ennis stands out as a fighter with all the tools to become the sport's next great American star. What makes Ennis so compelling is his spectacular offensive style, a versatile, high-octane approach that has produced an impressive 90% knockout rate. As a fluid switch hitter who can attack from both stances, he overwhelms opponents with destructive combinations and pinpoint accuracy. While not known as a defensive specialist, this occasional vulnerability only adds to the excitement of his fights, creating the kind of dramatic moments that capture fan attention and build must-see attractions. Ennis's path to superstardom becomes even clearer when looking at the talent-rich junior middleweight division where he now competes. The landscape is filled with compelling matchups that could define his career, from showdowns with fellow rising star Vergil Ortiz Jr. to battles against established champions like Sebastian Fundora and Bakram Murtazaliev. Even former unified champion Jermel Charlo represents a legacy-defining opportunity. It should be noted that although Ennis has been on a winning streak, there is no doubt that Boots has been fighting smaller men in the welterweight division. In addition, Boots is definitely not a defensive wizard, and the junior middleweight division, filled with bigger men, bigger talent, and big punchers that could put a stop to Boot Ennis's rise. Ennis has the ingredients to become America's next boxing hero. With his Philadelphia fighting heritage, marketable Boots persona, and undefeated record, he carries the authentic credentials that resonate with fans. His explosive highlight reel style is perfectly suited for today's digital age, where spectacular knockouts travel fast across social media. As he navigates this dangerous division, Ennis has the opportunity to do more than win titles. He can establish himself as the new face of American boxing, a fighter whose combination of skills and entertainment value can draw mainstream attention and become the sport's next major attraction. Because of the strength of the junior middleweight division, and also considering that Ennis is American, his potential is at an 8. David Benavidez. David Benavidez is a significant presence in boxing, known for his fan-friendly, offensive style characterized by relentless pressure and notable power. Marketed as the Mexican monster, his heritage is a central part of his identity. Benavidez is of Mexican and Ecuadorian descent and was raised in the United States. While some debate his connection to Mexico, he is generally accepted by and represents a substantial portion of the Mexican and Mexican-American boxing community, which forms a passionate and dedicated fan base. His potential for stardom is closely tied to major future matchups. Fights against top-tier opponents like Artur Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol, or Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez are the kind of high-profile events that could elevate his status in the sport. A current point of discussion is his transition to the light heavyweight division. Observers have noted that his punching power, which was a defining feature of his dominance at super middleweight, appears less pronounced against the naturally larger and more resilient opponents at 175 pounds. His recent wins have come by decision rather than knockout. The central question for his career trajectory is whether he can successfully adapt his aggressive style to be as effective in the light heavyweight division. We need to see the monster once again. Another problem Benavidez faces is finding marketable dancing partners. Will David Benavidez find enough big names outside Bivol and Beterbiev to create big and in-demand fights? His star potential is at an 8 out of 10 if he defeats Beterbiev or Dimitri Bivol. Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis possesses the foundational elements for boxing stardom: an Olympic silver medal, an undefeated professional record, and a highly skilled, controlled aggression fighting style. In other words, Davis possessed speed, power, and the potential to become a crowd-pleasing fighter. Marketed as the businessman, his methodical approach initially suggested a long and disciplined career at the highest level. However, his path to superstardom is now in serious jeopardy due to significant professional and personal setbacks. His failure to make weight for a title fight, which resulted in him being stripped of his WBO belt and losing a major purse, raised public questions about his dedication. This was compounded by a backstage altercation, indicating a potential loss of the composure central to his brand. These incidents appear linked to deeper, pre-existing mental health challenges for which he has previously received treatment. Davis has since announced an indefinite hiatus from boxing, stating he feels undisciplined and has even hinted at retirement. In early 2025, Davis was set to face the undefeated Dennis Berinchyk, On fight week, Davis and his team claimed that someone had left a fruit basket in front of their hotel room, including watermelon and bananas, along with a note that read, "Here's a snack for all those high jumps." Davis brought up the issue during a press conference and indirectly suggested that Berenching and/or someone from his camp had sent the package. However, Davis and his trainer, Bomac, appeared disinterested in finding the culprit, seemingly content with having painted Berenching as a racist. Then later that year, Davis was set to fight Edwin de los Santos. As in the Berenching buildup, Davis appeared overly agitated. Then he missed weight and the bout was canceled. But things worsened on fight night when Davis' brother Kelvin lost to former Keyshawn foe Nihil Albright. After the bout, the Davises confronted Albright backstage, wherein a violent altercation ensued, all in the vicinity of children. Ultimately, while Davis's in-ring talent is undeniable, his ability to become a major attraction and superstar now depends entirely on his capacity to manage the pressures of the sport and achieve personal stability outside of it. His athletic promise remains, but his star potential is currently on hold. Emiliano Vargas. Emiliano Vargas is building his own path in boxing while acknowledging the legacy of his father, former champion Fernando Vargas. The Vargas name gives him an initial connection to boxing fans, particularly within the Mexican and Mexican-American community, which is known for its strong support of the sport. His style in the ring is technically sound and aggressive, which appeals to fans who appreciate a disciplined, offensive approach. As a young Mexican-American fighter who is bilingual, he has a natural ability to connect with a wide range of audiences. While he is still early in his career, his combination of skills, heritage, and marketable qualities position him as a fighter with the potential to become a significant draw in the sport. His continued development and performance against better competition will determine his ability to attract larger crowds and become a mainstay in boxing. As he continues to ascend through the ranks, the potential for massive crowds and packed arenas grows with each victory. The Mexican boxing community is always hungry for their next great champion. What do you think? Can Emiliano Vargas become the next Mexican-American star and catch the attention of the Mexican community? Star potential is at 8 out of 10. Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason is establishing himself as one of boxing's most promising young talents, demonstrating a strong foundation for future marketability and mainstream appeal. At just 21 years old, the Cleveland native has compiled a perfect professional record of 19 wins, with 17 victories coming by way of knockout. This impressive start suggests significant potential for developing into a major attraction within the sport. Several factors contribute to his marketability. Most notably, his fighting style combines technical precision with aggressive offense, creating the type of action-oriented performances that typically resonate with boxing audiences. As a southpaw, he presents particular challenges for opponents while delivering powerful, accurate punches from unconventional angles. His high knockout percentage indicates an exciting, finish-oriented approach that could help build a dedicated fan base over time. This is a boxer that could have a good undefeated run, which could help in his marketability. Beyond his physical skills, Mason demonstrates considerable ring intelligence, effectively reading opponents and adjusting his strategy during fights. This technical sophistication, combined with his quiet, business-like demeanor outside the ring, creates an intriguing contrast that could appeal to both casual viewers and boxing purists. His background as a self-made fighter from Cleveland's boxing tradition provides an authentic narrative that complements his in-ring abilities. While Mason continues to develop and will need to prove himself against increasingly skilled competition, his current trajectory suggests substantial potential for growth as a marketable figure in boxing. His combination of technical skill, punching power, and consistent discipline makes him well-positioned to attract broader attention as he advances to higher-profile fights. With continued success, he appears capable of developing into a significant draw within the sport. His star potential is at a solid 7 out of 10. You might be asking yourself now, why didn't you add Shakur Stevenson to the list? This is simple. Shakur Stevenson is not an exciting boxer. Sure, he didn't run against William Zepeda, but not running in one fight does not guarantee superstar status.
Mayweather, well, like we keep saying, he was an anomaly, and on top of that, it took him about 11 years, thereabouts, for him to transcend into the mainstream. People forget when he was fighting Victoriano Sosa in Miami in front of 4,000 people, couldn't even fill out that place. Same thing when he fought, what was the guy's name? He fought a Puerto Rican guy in 2005. He was like the proto Miguel Cotto. He wasn't doing well. He was doing horrible. But HBO at the time, they would pay big money for some of these dudes because they had the money. So they just wanted to keep all the best talent from Roy Jones to Lennox Lewis to De La Hoya and all that. So they were just paying Mayweather because they recognized he was a good fighter, but he just wasn't doing anything. And it took 10 years. 10 years. Is anyone really going to take that chance with Devin Haney or some other future boxer who's boring? Hey, we're going to invest 10 years into this guy to see if he becomes a star, or otherwise we're willing to lose money on that. It's a big investment, especially now today with, like we keep saying, dwindling networks, dwindling fight dates, guys are inactive. I mean, so you take a look at some of these up-and-coming prospects. For them, a busy schedule is 3 fights a year, whereas the prospects in the heydays, they used to fight 5-6 times a year.
Yeah, man, Devin Haney's like a Kardashian, right? All these dudes try to take her, make her something that she ain't, you know?
Haney Kardashian, that fakery was supposed to end after the Ryan Garcia fight. Unfortunately, there was a whole Austrian debacle thing, and that gave Devin Haney a lifeline. Finished with Benavidez. We didn't finish with Benavidez. His potential.
Yeah, he does, but the problem is, to me, the problem I think he has is just the weight division. But what are you gonna do at 175? What names does it really resonate with Americans, and how many Mexicans are at 168? That's just like not a thing since Canelo.
It's a bunch of Europeans. There's no Americans in there. You know what I mean?
Pound for pound, Zurdo has more skills than Benny. That's the problem with boxing is, look at Abdullah, right? He has an opportunity to get a belt, but it's going to be against Sam Noakes, whereas Vergil Ortiz, he has to go through a legit tough challenge to get a belt.
And I don't think Sam Noakes is going to be an easy fight. I'm telling you that, man. Sam Noakes can beat up Abdullah Mason. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, bro.
Right now with Mason, he's fighting on turkey cards, and those guys typically get pushed a lot quicker, so we'll see. It's better for the promoters, and I'm not in favor of ducking fights, but it's better for the promoters to build them up as stars because the sport needs stars at the moment.
Hey, what about Keyshawn Davis?
Keyshawn Davis doesn't deserve to be in any conversations. Let him prove himself. The way he acted was so terrible. He doesn't care. He doesn't deserve to be in any conversation.
Look, is Keyshawn good? He's good. I think he's good. I think he's a bit of a weight bully. Does he have skills? I don't think he's as skilled as Teofimo. I think he's more of a brawler in the Gary Russell Jr. type of fighter. You know what? He's going to lose. Somebody with skills, a slick boxer could definitely outclass. You know who could give Keyshawn Davis a test is Jack Catterall. I could see Jack Catterall, if he's on his A game, out-slicking Keyshawn Davis.
Because it's Ryan Garcia, he'll be back in the conversation, but I'm part of the group that thinks that he shouldn't be part of any conversation. Again, because the sport doesn't have any active superstar right now, and there's no face of boxing, he will be in said conversation with one big win.
What about Shakur Stevenson?
He needs some big opponent, and if he has a chance to beat Teofimo, that will do something. But yeah, his style is.
You're telling me people are going to show up to his fights if he beats Teofimo Lopez? People are going to be like, oh.
People run away. People leave his fights. They run away from his performances.
He might be able to do a bigger crowd.
Hey,
even if he does that, nobody wants to see him fight. Like, what are you talking about?
Ryan Garcia is at least entertaining, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're saying all this shit about, like, he shouldn't be in any conversation. At least he'll knock somebody the fuck out, dude, if he lands a punch. Yeah, what's up with Fight Sport Talk? You're saying that he can't be a star. You think, what's wrong with Teofimo?
Well, because he keeps shooting himself in the foot, and he keeps... Teofimo is just... He's like Keyshawn Davis. He doesn't deserve to have anybody believe in him. I'd like to, but he keeps making a fool out of everyone.
What do you think about our list? Is there anyone that we left out? Let us know in the comments section below or in one of our live stream shows. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time.